I manipulated my studio logo to fit to the genre theme as a way of following the conventions as seen in my research page. Studios usually change the design of their logo to fit to the media's genre, so I did that here. I included an association logo to continue following the conventions I saw in my research. A lot of the times there was multiple logos, perhaps more than 3, but I decided to just add an extra studio logo / company as a way of saving the time to display more scenes. I used this close-up shot and the flashing effect of the killer to highlight his importance, but also to hide his identity a bit more. I strongly emphasized the enigma codes as I had the audience guessing who was this person or what's his importance to the text. I used the pan shot to show the environment of where the story is going to begin, and I also used it because I was inspired by a particular shot I found in my research when I was analyzing Friday, the comedy drama. I think here's when I began to show hints of me breaking the conventions of a horror slasher, because there's a lot of highly defined colors and saturation of the colors, which portrays more of a happy mood instead of a scary sort of tone. However, the parallel soundtrack could actually complement what the audience is seeing. Like the subdued lighting of the sun makes the environment seem fatigued, sad, or desperate for hope. There's obviously a clash of emotions, making the audience the dominant reading question, is this a happy tone or sad tone? They really won't know until later on.
Today's songs are so hard for the first time.
Here I use a two-shot to show the relationship between the two kids. They walked out of a house, so it could be brothers or siblings or something. It shows a connection between the two on the dominant reading, showing that they have a bond and that they really care for each other, and that if something was to happen to either one of them, they would obviously be heartbroken.
We're gonna have basketball practice. I'm excited for exams.
I use this long shot to show the isolation of the two kids. They obviously lack the parental supervision, and as we know, as the audience would know, that children by themselves is very dangerous because they never know what can happen. There's a stranger danger or something, so that means that these kids are basically walking into a sort of dangerous field or dangerous environment away from their home. And the lack of a parental figure really shows that their protection or their safety relies on them, but they obviously haven't had enough years to really learn the dangers or the threats that they could be exposed to. So this may make them more susceptible to being kinder to strangers or less aware of the threats surrounding them. I used the upside down shot to show the transition between the mood and the sort of worlds of these kids. Their whole world's about to flip upside down, literally, in the next few minutes. I used the text alone, 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 alone in repetition to foreshadow how one of the siblings is going to be left alone by himself for the rest of his life. And it could change how he grows up or who he grows up to be. I use this glitch effect as a way of showing the present time and the past time, which both kids will sort of simultaneously alternate between. If you can see clearly that the kids will sometimes be closer to the camera or further away after each shot, and it just shows that they're stuck in a loop of being alone, and that this moment is just replaying in the survivor's head. He can't get it out of his head. He can't escape. He's alone. He can't escape nothing. This is all he remembers, being alone. There's no escape. I use this close-up shot and paired it with the dialogue to create more sort of a connection between the kids and the killer. The close-up feels a lot more personal, and it foreshadows that the survivor will turn out to be the killer. And the fact I said there's no escape, and then the next shot is of the victim, also forebodes there's no escape for the nerdy kid, like he's gonna die. Likewise for the athletic kid, there's no escape from his destiny. He's gonna turn into the killer. I use these sequence of shots to show the kids literally just being kids. Like, even though this is a horror movie, like they're still kids. They're not gonna be aggressive yet. Like their kids are sort of conditioned to become aggressive, and this is really just gonna be like a stepping stone to show that the athletic kid is really gonna like be at his lowest when when he sees his brother gets killed, and it's really just like not part of his nature, but it was forced upon him by external factors. I utilize this close-up shot as well as the recording to show that the killer in the future, like the athletic kid in the future, is sort of expressing himself through this recording. And that he's remembering something, and the head tilt really shows that like he remembered this moment vividly, like he's like recognizing something, sort of like a dog, how a dog turns his head when he's like recognizing when he recognizes a word or sort of like a key sound. Additionally, the head tilt resembling that of a dog could also like show insight onto his rabid nature of the killer. Like he has no remorse. He's an animal. He's very animalistic. He has no remorse anymore. He's his emotions have just been sucked out of him. Like ever since that day that he's remembering right now. I use this sequence to fit the stereotype of kids being energetic and active outside as opposed to being indoors all day. Like kids are filled with energy and they're rebellious at such young ages, which also fits to the theme of these kids being less aware of threats around them because they're so rebellious to the point where they just don't care for their own safety, which leads to them doing like dangerous things or dangerous stunts. I use this mid shot to show the kid being tired. He's finally going back to rest, and they're finally going to return home, and it's just gonna like sort of like reflect to the audience that he's so close to, escaping from danger, but one small mistake just led to him changing the entire trajectory of his life, of his future. I use this shot to show the athletic kid recognizing something out of the ordinary in his side peripheral view, um, but he thinks nothing of it. And it just creates dramatic irony because the audience knows that something bad's gonna happen due to the enigma codes, but the athletic kid and the nerdy kid are unaware of what's to happen, which fits to the representation of kids being less aware of threats in the surroundings due to the lack of parental supervision. This high angle shot shows the isolation of the kids, that it's only them alone, and they can obviously, see a person running up to them, but they think nothing of it because they're unsure of his intentions. Whereas an older individual would obviously be suspicious and probably run away because they can tell that this is someone like this masked individual is going to do something bad, but they can't think nothing of it because they lack the years and experience from like schools or social like interactions that hooded people or masked individuals late at night is obviously a bad sign. I use this close-up shot on the weapon, which I got inspired from by the Netflix series The Witcher, during the fight scene of the Blaviken fight, where the director actually said that he used a close-up shot of the gun and the pan around it to sort of create the effect that it was actually going to hit Gerald. So I use this close-up to really immerse the audience into knowing that this bullet is going to hit someone due to how close the gun is. Like, it's really going to hit someone, and that these kids are going to, their whole lives are about to change in just a split second. And the slow, lifting up of the gun creates more intensity, because the audience already knows that lifting up a gun shows that the intentions of this masked individual is to shoot it or do something very, very dangerous with it to these kids, and there's no running from it. And as previously stated in the dialogue, there's no escape, and this is the moment when there's no escape. One of them's gonna die, and the other one's gonna have to take on a personality, a persona of a killer, in order to enact revenge on everyone he knows. I use this pan shot into sort of a POV shot for the audience to make the audience feel threatened by this robber. Like they're also the ones being shot. It really like puts the audience into the kids' shoes. Like their whole lives about to change. This gun's pointing at them. They're about to die. I use a close-up shot after the gunshot to show the audience that this is the person who died, because they wouldn't have known yet who's the one that's gonna die. Um, but the dominant reader can now see that the nerdy kid's the one who died. The very innocent sort of damsel in distress. He's colored in white. White symbolizes purity, and he's the one that's died. And obviously, they can see the stained red paint on the back of his shirt, which is meant to be his blood. He got shot in the back, critical spot, like towards his heart. Like he died on the spot, and he didn't get to say any last words to his brother, which just creates more empathy for the athletic kid. Like he never even got a chance to say goodbye or anything. He just left him in a split second, and his future, his destiny was decided for him right then and there. I use the black and white shots to reflect that of a flashback, and it shows that the athletic kid is not easily gonna forget this moment. He instantly remembers what he just did with his brother, like just now, and he's not easily forgetting this ever. If not, he's never forgiving anyone for this. And this really just shows the transition of the innocent kid being conditioned into being a killer. Like he got exposed to seeing his brother get killed. He has nothing else left to lose. Like there's nothing worse imaginable that he could see. Like he's seen the worst of it. I used a graphic match to show that the killer and the athletic kid are related. Like they are the exact same person, and it's just the athletic kid in the future. Um, and I just wanted to show that this moment, like the athletic kid was conditioned under operant conditioning to respond. Like if he sees killing, he's gonna respond back with killing, but it's not temporary. It's more of a permanent change. Like because this is the worst he's ever seen. Like his brother getting killed. There's nothing left to lose. He has to revert to like the only way that he's seen his brother suffer, and everyone must suffer the same exact fate that his brother did, and it must be by his hand and his hand alone.